Conectado. Jonathan Pearce comparte su increíble historia de sobrevivencia a un brutal asalto.
Broke my jaw in 2 places, bit my tongue in half, broke my neck. I've never been hurt like this before. So I realized, okay, this is going to be a whole process.
El as del golpeo, Woodson, revela sus 5 boxeadores favoritos en la UFC.
I'm a huge fan of striking, and I like to see guys exchange and shoot it out in the middle of the octagon.
Royce Gracie nos da acceso total a un evento de caridad con los Navy SEALs.
Never leave a man behind.
Y el campeón de peso mediano, Pereira, revive su debut en el octágono desde el Madison Square Garden.
Eu esperei o momento certo ali e nocauteei ele.
Hola y bienvenidos a UFC Conectado. En el 2014, un altercado con un bully en el gimnasio llevó al peso pluma Jonathan Pearce a una pelea para salvar su vida. Pearce fue golpeado hasta quedar inconsciente. Luego se despertó en el hospital con una conmoción cerebral, la mandíbula rota y el cuerpo apagándose. Pearce hizo todo lo posible para recuperarse, incluso regresó a competir en artes marciales mixtas solo 6 meses después. Iluminando sus momentos más oscuros, JSP revela más de su inspiradora historia en esta edición de Enfoque.
Well, several years ago, Jonathan Pearce nearly had his MMA career taken away from him.
He was the victim of a nasty assault when he was younger. He's got a plate in his face, multiple screws.
And look at him now.
A setback isn't always a setback. It actually makes you feel something. And I needed to feel that to know what feeling something was. And now I'm going to go get it.
Super exciting on the feet. Will throw all kinds of kicks, great combinations.
Just relentless offensively, bell to bell.
No one's going to hold me down. If you want to see what I got in me, I'm going to show you what I got.
Wow.
JSP! Long way to come, but he picks up a great win.
I'm from Johnson City, Tennessee. I got in wrestling at 12 years old. I proceeded until I got into college. I got second in the state in wrestling my senior year. I was like one of the prospects on the team. I stopped wrestling in college, dropped out, pursued fighting. A year later, ended up being the Tennessee State champ.
Oh, and that's a good double leg from Jonathan Pearce.
It was a normal day. I went into practice. There wasn't that many people there. This guy was a bully at the gym. We'd had problems with him in the past, but we thought we had sorted him out. This guy was like 5'6", 230 pounds. He came in that day and they would rip our bags, and we didn't have like a big facility. We didn't have extra gloves and stuff like that. So they'd be wearing our gloves and there'd be blood on it. And we'd be like, hey, we don't know if these guys are tested. We have a problem with all this. One of the guys was trying to tell me like, hey, he's broke 3 jaws. Like I wouldn't confront him. He's kind of a loose cannon. And I was like, nah, I'm a professional fighter. I know I can handle my own. So like right at the end of practice, I addressed him. You feel it go down your spine like, oh, this is not right. Something's not right. Like I need to run. But it didn't run. I just turned around. I thought like, what is he gonna do? Hit me when I'm not looking? They hit me from behind, cold clocked me. I fell down and then somebody pulls them off of me. Whoever's holding them, he says, let me kick him, let me kick him. And that guy lets him go and he runs and goes and kicks me, kind of like when you're punting a football. The first thing I remember is waking up. I know what happened, but I didn't know how severe. And I'm just like feeling all this gory mess in my mouth. And then they get the ambulance there and they're trying to question me, but I didn't know if it was Monday through Friday or what year it was. I broke 19 of my teeth, broke my jaw in 2 places, bit my tongue in half, broke my neck. I've never been hurt like this before. So I realized like, okay, this is gonna be a whole process. The doctors told me that I couldn't fight again. In that moment, I had a choice to make. If I can do this, I'm gonna go all the way. I was going down this path all by myself. It was up to me to pull myself out of all that. After that attack, I had to climb back. I got back to getting in the gym,
So let's just in short, right? Yep. Yep, that's it. When I met Jonathan, he's tough. Jonathan has always been tough. That's a guy who, when we first met him, did not win his fights on skill. He won it on just pure toughness and perseverance. And I believe he fought something like 6 or 9 months after that attack.
Big hype around this bout. These two were supposed to fight back in January, but JSP was chunked and beat up and wasn't able to fight.
The Anthony Morgan fight was a crazy fight. It was back and forth.
Did beautiful flying knee!
I was telling myself, no one else has been through this. No one else has fought death. Good luck. I'm going to give you my all.
JSP's just going for broke here.
Jonathan! Here!
2 months later, I fight Chris Wright, and then I finish him in the first round.
Whoa! There it is! It's done! JSP has won round 1 over Chris Wright!
The ball's starting to roll. I'd worked hard enough to get to a certain point, but I needed to work harder to keep winning. I needed to make that transition.
With a slow jog to the octagon, eager for this opportunity, is Jonathan Pearce, originally from Tennessee, now fighting out of the Phoenix, Arizona area.
I was 8-3, gotten on the Contender Series. I was like, whoa, this is really happening. Now I need to execute. I knew this guy was supposed to beat me. They had him pick the win, you know, he was the guy. And I was just some little East Tennessee boy brought in to fight him. And I was like, all right, well, he ain't ever fought a country boy like me.
Ready, let's do it.
When he first came out, he was hitting real hard, real flashy, but as time went on, he wasn't as crisp, and he was kind of like chasing and trying to follow my lead.
Oh, nice uppercut there.
I was dictating the pace. Once I realized that, I just started turning it up on him.
Look at this.
I knocked the guy out.
Oh, there it is.
I just went out there and killed it.
Big right hand, and that's gonna do it! Jonathan JSP Pearce.
In that moment after the fight, I was very happy to be able to be like, the guy who attacked me, I wonder what he's doing right now. I bet he ain't on ESPN. I bet he ain't getting a 4-fight deal with the UFC.
I like this kid's stand-up. I like his ground. He's got that killer instinct, and that's what I'm looking for, and that's what I love. So welcome to the UFC, Jonathan Pearce.
Congratulations, Jonathan Pearce.
Jonathan Pearce repping Johnson City, Tennessee. He has a lot to prove tonight to himself and to a lot of other people.
If anybody knows how to get through adversity and still perform when things are not going completely well for him, it's Jonathan Pearce.
Pearce back on top. Kamaka cannot just keep taking these shots. That's it.
Wow.
Jonathan Pearce with a finish in round 2.
Jonathan JSP Pearce.
I'm coming out here to tell the world what my name is. JSP, baby. Woo!
I believe that attack put me on an accelerated path. These last 6 years have been up and down. Like, I went from not knowing if I was going to be able to be in the UFC to I fought 7 times on ESPN. It was just a crazy journey, and to come back from all that, kind of unreal.
Look at Pearce chase him down.
Ooh, he has got some heart. Wow.
Now it's time to stand out from everyone else.
Pearce has definite championship aspiration.
Becoming a UFC champion would mean that all this is worth it.
Oh, that's getting so tight. That is it. Jonathan JSP.
Llegó la hora de hacer una pausa, pero al regreso, Royce Gracie nos da acceso total a un evento de caridad con los Navy SEAL. En los primeros días de la UFC, el golpeo le cedió el paso a la lucha en el suelo, pero mucho ha cambiado desde los días del jiu-jitsu y el dominio de la lucha, incluyendo el boxeo, el cual ha evolucionado a pasos gigantes dentro de las MMA. Los peleadores de la UFC lo utilizan tanto para los fundamentos como para los knockouts. Hoy, el contendiente de peso pluma Sean Woodson revela sus 5 boxeadores favoritos de todos los tiempos en la UFC.
Boxing as a fundamental is so important in MMA because every fight starts standing. I hear all the time that wrestling and jiu-jitsu are the most important martial arts in MMA, but if you don't know how to box, you're gonna be in trouble.
Big combination! It's all over!
Me being a boxer myself, that's definitely what I like to see most when I'm watching UFC. I'm a huge fan of striking, and I like to see guys exchange and shoot it out in the middle of the octagon. Some of the traits you'll see in a great boxer are defense most important, guys who have a sharp jab, and guys who go to the body often.
Oh, what a body shot by Jose Aldo!
A lot of guys headhunt, but an experienced boxer knows to mix it up and go to that body.
Right back to the body. Hooker goes down. Edson Barboza.
How it feels to land a knockout in fighting is like the ultimate prize. It's the ultimate goal.
This guy's boxing, man, is really slick.
You did the job. You gave the people what they wanted to see, and yeah, it's a flawless victory.
That's gonna do it again. The body work adds up. Sean Woodson living up to the nickname, the St. Louis Sniper.
I'm Sean Woodson, and these are my top 5 all-time greatest boxers in the UFC. Coming in at number 5, Dustin Poirier. I chose Poirier on my list of top boxers because he's got just real solid fundamentals. He's got a good jab, his defense is real tight, he doesn't take much damage, and he knows how to expose holes in other guys' striking. Every time Dustin steps inside the octagon, you can expect to see a shootout. A guy trying to keep it on the feet and box it up with people, box people's ears off. And you can definitely expect to see blood when you're watching a Poirier fight for sure.
Dustin Poirier by knockout!
Poirier versus Holloway was probably one of the most exciting fights that I've seen him in.
Massive right from Poirier!
Both guys are elite level boxers, and it was just a real back and forth fight, and it was, mainly a boxing contest.
My goodness, holy smokes!
I love watching that fight. I watched that fight too many times to count.
That Dustin Poirier is a phenomenal boxer.
Coming in at number 4, I'm going with Adrian Yanez. Every time you see Adrian go in the octagon, you can expect to see slickness. Smooth swagger, confidence. He flows in there, he's loose and relaxed, has a good jab, puts the combos together. Head movement is always on point. Fast hands, yeah, he sauces it up on guys. Yanez, when you mix in the flow and you mix in that swagger, it's a uniqueness that a lot of guys have trouble dealing with. All of his fights have ended in devastating fashion and knockouts due to the hands. So yeah, all of his highlights are up there. They're good ones.
That's gonna do it! Wow! Adrian Yanez, Mr. Knockout, does it again!
Next up at number 3 is Max Holloway. Every time you watch one of Max Holloway's fights, you can expect to see punches and bunches. You can expect to see him sticking that jab high-low, going to the body, switching it up, coming back upstairs. The volume is what stands out to me the most, how he puts together tons of shots on guys. He's not throwing 1 or 2, he's putting together 5 or 6 shots at a time. He overwhelms guys with his volume. He doesn't throw hard every shot, but he makes sure they connect, and he has pinpoint accuracy. Max Holloway's fight that stand out to me has to be against Calvin Kattar. That was just a masterclass performance. I think going into that fight, people thought it was going to be a lot more competitive than what it was because, Calvin's a great boxer as well, and Max is known for his boxing.
Max Holloway just looks so slick.
Huge left hand for Holloway.
People thought it was going to be a back and forth fight, but mid-fight, landing strikes on him, telling him I'm the best boxer in the UFC.
I'm the best boxer in the UFC, baby!
It was the Holloway show through and through.
Hawaii's finest, looking a whole lot like the best in the world tonight.
Coming in at number 2, the notorious Conor McGregor. Conor's considered one of the greatest boxers in MMA because that's always been his route to victory. That's what he looks for, and that's what he hunts from bell to bell, is to try to knock your head off. That's how he rose up through the ranks, was by putting hands on people.
Conor relaxed and smiling. Oh my! Just like that! Oh!
That left hand is deadly.
It just seems to be one of those punches and fighters just get shocked by.
What makes Conor's style unique and different is the confidence he carries into the cage. He carries that confidence that he knows he just has to touch you one time and he can put you to sleep. The accuracy, the power, the knockouts. You can expect to see him hunting the KO from bell to bell.
It is all over, just like that. That's the real deal, ladies and gentlemen. Conor McGregor is for real.
My #1 pick for best boxer in UFC history is Gangbred himself, Jorge Masvidal. I chose Masvidal to be on my list because he's a slick, smooth customer in there. He mixes it up well, goes to the body just as much as the head, and yeah, he fights with some swagger.
Oh! Beautiful left hook.
My favorite moments in Masvidal's career when he fought Cowboy Cerrone and finished him with body shots and showed his elite level striking there.
Masvidal working the body, and that is it!
And his fight against Darren Till. I believe he was the underdog going into that fight as well and knocked him out in his hometown. A lot of people didn't see that coming. Every time you see Masvidal fight, you can expect to see excitement. You can expect to see a dog and just pushing forward and trying to knock you out. And I feel like that's what you need to be a high-level striker. I'm Sean Woodson, and thank you for taking 5.
Y hacemos otra pausa, pero al regreso, el campeón de peso mediano Alex Pereira revive su debut en el octágono desde el Madison Square Garden. En el UFC 1 en 1993, Royce Gracie aseguró un futuro lugar en el Salón de la Fama cuando ganó el primer torneo en una sola noche. 3 décadas después, el nombre Gracie sigue siendo legendario y el mismo Hoist usa esa plataforma para retribuir a la comunidad. Nos unimos al pionero en Gandy Beach, Florida, donde se sumergió en el evento Frogman Swim, una obra de caridad para la Fundación Navy SEAL.
That's the platoon wave right there, coming in. I'm still thinking, what am I doing here?
Does she need
I'm
something?
cold in here. Imagine how it's freezing cold outside. The water is cold. And we got to swim about 4 miles. There's nothing fun about it. It's going to be fun. Yeah, right.
We are here, Tampa Bay, for the Frogman Swim. It's an event that helps out families. So the fallen Navy SEALs, they give their lives for our freedom. So the Navy SEAL Foundation now give it back to their family.
We started this back in 2010. We've continued it now for the 14th year. It's a almost 4-mile crossing from this point over to the Tampa side.
The platoon wave, our whole goal is to do something harder. So we do a full kit swim. We put 70 pounds of gear, our plate carriers, everything. We swim the 3.5 miles across the bay. As soon as I called Hoist, I told him what we were doing, why we were doing it, not for us, but to take care of our teammates, take care of our commands, take care of our Gold Star families. His words were right away, let's do it.
Every time I meet the men and women from the service, they're always like, man, we look up to you. Almost like I'm their hero. But they are my hero. I look up to them for what they do. And it's my way to give it back.
Hoist has a huge fan base. The UFC and the military have always been great partners. Bringing Hoist into this was just a perfect fit, and it was a no-brainer.
Hoist has got a challenge for himself here. The water is about 63, 64 degrees. Air temp right now is 38. But we think Hoist is up for the challenge.
This is my first year doing it. It's gonna be about 3.5 to 4 miles. And you have to pull about 60 to 70 pounds behind you. And it's gonna be the coldest day.
Platoon wave. You will be our first in the water.
I'll see you guys on the other side.
If I had to compare this swim with the UFC fight, I would say this is harder because it's not my background. I can fight all day, not a problem. I got endurance, not a problem. But being in the cold water and swimming, it's very cold.
Cramp? Yep. You want me to take the bag?
Nope.
He did awesome. He did everything. He had his combat side stroke down pat. He had his kit loaded, and he didn't quit. He was there with every teammate all the way across to the end, and he inserted on the beach with us at the end. He was amazing.
Crushed it. Never leave a man behind.
I knew it was going to be tough, and it was very tough.
What experience, man.
Thank you. It's a personal challenge to me, making the uncomfortable become comfortable.
I got a lot of endurance, man. I can do this all day. It's not tired, it's just freezing. Finished it.
I sat in the armory 30 years ago in November and watched the UFC. And I looked at this guy come in the ring and I had no idea how that was happening. And then here we are 30 years later, and Hoist made history walking across the beach with the platoon wave today in support of the Navy SEAL Foundation. Hoist makes history. Hoist is history. He's the legend.
El campeón de peso mediano Alex Pereira hizo su esperado debut en el UFC 268. El protegido de Glover Teixeira tenía un currículum de élite en el kickboxing, pero fue otro ángulo lo que cautivó a los fanáticos. Pereira obtuvo victorias en kickboxing sobre el entonces campeón Israel Adesanya. Pereira anunció su llegada a la división de forma contundente y devastadora. Hoy nos sentamos con el campeón para revivir esa memorable noche.
Bom, eu achei que eu cheguei no limite ali do kickboxing. Eu fui campeão no peso médio com 5 defesas, depois fui campeão do meio pesado. Então, pra mim, eu achei que cheguei no meu limite. Eu falei, vou ir pro MMA. E, pô, já tava treinando já há um tempo e eu achei que era o correto. Tá falando do maior evento de MMA do mundo, então com certeza eu já imaginava isso.
And the feature bout of the ESPN prelims card in the middleweight division.
A minha estreia no UFC foi contra o Mihalides.
First up on the scale, Andreas Nicolaitis, official weight 185. And his opponent, Pereira, official weight 186.
A gente tá falando do UFC, né? É o mais alto nível. Pô, estão os melhores atletas e com certeza eu sabia que eu ia enfrentar uma pedreira.
Andreas Nicolaitis and Alex Pereira.
Live inside Madison Square Garden here in New York, New York. We welcome you to UFC 268.
Madison Square Garden é um palco onde pô, todo mundo quer estar, todo atleta quer lutar. Minha caminhada ali nos corredores, né, escutando o barulho da galera, pô, todo mundo gritando ali. Posso falar pra vocês que é maravilhoso. Quando eu entro ali, eu faço bem que o meu ritual ali, entrando marchando, passo o meu sinal ali, atiro meu arco e flecha, isso me faz muito bem. Isso me dá uma força muito grande.
This is one of my most look forward to moments in this sport, is the emergence of Alex Pereira in the UFC. I am a giant fan of this man. I've been watching his kickboxing career. He is truly exceptional.
All right, you ready, sir? You ready, sir? Let's go, gentlemen.
You want to talk about a guy with ridiculous power. That's Alex Pereira.
If he can capitalize on all the hype, it won't take him long, but he's got to show that he can compete in all facets of mixed martial arts.
This is an excellent opening for this fight. Look at this.
Michailidis is fighting the fight that he needs to fight in order to beat one of the greatest kickboxers we've ever seen in the UFC.
Sabia que ia ser uma luta difícil. Eu sabia que ele ia vir pra fazer toda a força ali, agarrar. Pô, o primeiro round ali, o tempo todo me agarrando. Mas eu estava preparado pro que der e vier.
Well, Michailidis doing his best to neutralize Alex Pereira in round 1.
Ok, mírame. Tu izquierda tiene que mantener siempre afuera.
Trabalha mais o
Manténlo afuera, manténlo la distancia.
So a productive first round for Andreas Michailidis, who seemed exhausted on the stool after round 1.
Eu tinha visto, né, que ele tinha feito, pô, a força do mundo ali. E eu tava bem tranquilo, né? Ele tentou me machucar ali, numa distância, pô, muito longa, né? Tentando me acertar com chutes, aonde eu saí rapidamente. Eu esperei o momento certo ali e nocauteei ele.
Alex Pereira! How good is that?
Na hora que eu acertei aquela joelhada nele, eu vi que ele não teria condições de voltar. Foi meio que automático, né? Uma coisa que eu treino todos os dias.
It's a different kind of power. When Alex Pereira connects, most people go night-night. Ferocious man.
An interesting injection of talent in the UFC's middleweight division.
Pô, essa vitória eu coloco a principal de um novo ciclo.
Así terminamos este episodio, pero contáctanos y comparte tus opiniones en línea usando el hashtag UFC Conectado. Hasta la próxima.